That's your choice. Now, we're proactively journaling the day by day progress of the dividend rotation strategy, where we have currently proven that we are making almost $1,000 or more per month on trades on less than $10,000 worth of capital, where we would be seeing, if we were successful for this 12 months in a row, over 168% return, which is what we projected in May when we first addressed the dividend rotation strategy. And I said, I want to put it to the test and let's see how well it is. And it's been working out well because we're currently in a bull market. So while we're enjoying this bull market, while we're enjoying everything starting to level off and go back up because everything's starting to settle down with political disarray, now is the time to put your money in there while everything is at its lowest and start making as much money as you can as it rises and rebalance along the way. And that's where Tuesday's show's coming up at. We're going to talk about how you go from one stock to 20 stocks and how to rebalance your portfolio between growth versus uh, dividends, the difference between just selling the difference and then reinvesting, which activates taxation, versus taking dividends and additional capital and investing it in the deficit stocks to maintain balance without triggering the taxation. It is the different ways that you can go from taking a hit to get a little bit more versus not taking a hit at all. And then we'll determine whether or not uh, getting that extra $100 triggering taxation, where you're probably going to be paying 10 or $20 on that $100 in order to rebalance it back in and make you a little bit more money, if that's even worth it, or should you just let it sit, because anything that doesn't move for 121 days is zero taxation up to 64,000 if you're single and $97,400 if you're married. So we try to give you guys options on how you want to make it do what it do, because that really determines your ability to be successful. So uh, with that being said, we're done with the start of the opening announcements. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first comment or question, and feel free to appropriately put your responses to these in the comment section, and I'll throw them up along the way.
How do you cuddle with your boyfriend? So to keep it simple, when I and my BF sleep together in one bed, we mostly sleep while spooning, aka facing the same direction while he hugs me from the back.
Okay.
I also really like to sleep face to face with him, but in all those face to face positions I have one problem. Where do I put my hand? So how I looks like normally. One of his hands are under my head, the second one is hugging me. One of my hands is hugging him, while the second is somewhere underneath. Under my body, under his body. At some point it just gets uncomfortable and my hand even starts to hurt a bit from the pressure on it. So I don't get, how do you guys cuddle face to face for a longer time? Where do I put my hand for it to not hurt? It may sound like a stupid question, but I really don't know. Help me out, please.
Now, this is an interesting question because I've actually had this experience before, and I have a solution to this. And it's not favoring women, but I have a solution for this. Now, first, brush your damn teeth. Use your some mouthwash and stuff, because this face to face situation, some folks snore mouth open, and it's like a garbage disposal. It's just horrid. However, if it's minty fresh or no scent at all, you guys can kind of be like kissably close, like some of those Mentos Fresh commercials, and like be there. Now, the way this is effective for me, because I care about my circulation, is you put the pillow under your partner's head, you put your arm under your partner's neck, in between the pillow and the shoulder, which means that most of the pressure of the head is on the pillow and not on your arm. You can wrap your arm around the partner's neck, and then the other arm just drapes over their body. Now, here's the best part, fellas. She can wrap her legs around your waist, because your side, your love handle, the little squishy part, that part sink in a little bit. which ironically, that little curvature, whether you're a man or a woman, that little curvature right there, right before the hip bone, that little curvature actually causes the spine to sag. So it's actually a good support for your spine to have their knee under your side, right there by the hip bone, which allows you to keep your spine straight and keep their neck straight at the same time. And then their other leg just wraps over you. Now, there's a I can't remember the website or the book about it that talks about how these types of positions actually are supposed to do some kind of extra bonding scenario. Um, it does leave room for inappropriate behavior throughout the night. However, it does get y'all as close as possible without me being uncomfortable because I'm not wrapping my legs around shit. So, I don't know about y'all, but if y'all know a better way to do it, y'all let me know. Michael says, I thought spooning was her facing to your back or versa. Well, spooning, you're going to have one person is going to be the outer thing and the other person is going to be the inner thing where it's going to be something like this. And doesn't matter how that works out. Typically, the man is on the woman's back. The woman is facing away from the man. And then, they just like share the same space kind of thing. Now that would be like the old fashioned spooning thing, but then when they're facing one another, there is that ability to get as close as possible, but then you got knees in the way and arms in the way, and how do you make that work? Well, ironically, there is a downside to my method. She gonna get comfortable with that. And outside of giving her a body pillow for her to wrap her legs around, she's not gonna be able to sleep unless you're there with her legs wrapped around you. So fellas, you will no longer be able to play video games while she sleep because she's gonna be wrapped around you. He said, put it in his crotch. That's a stupid question. Face to face, yuck. Well, um, put that's a good question. But see, if she start putting her hand on his crotch, they're not sleeping, at least not for the next 20 minutes. Now after that, you know, that's a good place to put it though, because that gives him the support. But yeah, that's one way to do it. Um, but usually people don't stay in the same spot like that all night long. Outside of extreme levels of comfort and a deep sleep that would allow you guys to stay in the same position all night long. Typically, some people toss and turn, especially when they have night terrors. So you're only going to be in an uncomfortable position until your partner moves. And when they move, it doesn't matter how they move. When they move, you move your whole body out of that position, even if you got to get out of bed, shake the dirt off, and then get back into the bed. Because you got some people who be sleeping with their partner and their partner sleep across the middle of the bed. And the more you move over, the more they move over. And then you got to cross over them so that you still on the bed instead of sleeping on the floor. Hey, however y'all make it work. I tell you what, they play with me. My dog will be right there in the middle of us. She'll be cuddling with the dog, and I'll be on the floor playing the Xbox. Either it's his hand or hers. I prefer hers. I agree. All right, let's touch on the next one. Wait, he said, can I get some covers back? Oh no. Oh no, I'm not playing that game. I've got one set of silk sheets and three blankets on the bed. One for me, one for you, and one for the dog. Now, between the three blankets, you will have at least one, and I will have at least one. And these big ass quilt blankets. So if if for some reason I have no blankets, I'm the one messing up. Because you can't tell me that my dog is wrapped up in a blanket, my girl wrapped up in a blanket, and I'm the only one over here freezing like Charlie Brown without the Lionel without his blanket. That's not happening. What blanket does she get? There's three of them. She can pick one. There's three of them. I got gigantic, extra large, queen size quilt blankets that cover the entire bed, and I got three of them on the bed. So if she get it should be too hot for all that, which means that if she take one, she not gonna want to take two because she'll have a heat stroke and die under the second one. So she gonna move that second one, which means I got the second one. The third one is up there just for the sake of being up there. So the dog can have that one. The dog comes before me. We need to talk. The last time a woman talked to me about my dog coming before her, she made me choose between her and the dog. I had that dog for 12 years. She was there for 5 months. I got rid of her and got a second dog. And I've had the second dog for 4 years. So that goes to show you don't make me choose. Don't ever make me choose. Because if you put me in the position to choose, I will not choose you. Because if you was my first choice, you would not have to ask me to choose. And matter of fact, ladies, if you're ever in a position where you with a man and you feel like you are not his priority, it's because you are not his priority. That's not a gut feeling. That is a logical rationalization based on his behavior. Because if you were his priority, his nose would be in your crotch the entire time that you're awake and half the time that you're asleep. But if he got better things to do than to be hovering around you, then that means you are not his number one priority in that moment. Now, that doesn't mean you're not important to him, but beating the boss on Kingdom Hearts might be more important. Finishing the Super Bowl on Madden might be important. Maintaining his undefeated streak on Fight Night might be more important. Drag racing the squad car in the middle of the night on the interstate might be more important. Doing donuts with his Hellcat in the Walmart parking lot might be more important. The list goes on. But whatever it is that he's doing right now that has him not next to you, that's more important. So you ain't gotta make him choose between me and the car. If he spends 6 hours a day in the garage, but he don't spend 6 hours a day with you, that means that the car is more important. Just deal with it. If you love the man enough, you'll be out there fixing the car with him. That's how you show support. You don't make him give up on his to satisfy your insecurity. You make yourself secure with the fact that you know that he will be with his car, not another woman. Think about that. Because he could have been at a strip club. Nah, he in the garage with you and his car. And ironically, he might be in the garage with you and your car. Just because he like cars more than he like people. So if you put yourself in a position where a dude is for some reason prioritizing something else over you, thank God that whatever it is not another woman. Now, when it start being another woman, some red flags start coming up. I don't care if it's a female friend from way back when or whatever. But if it ain't another woman, if it's video games, cars, guns, sports, leave that stuff be, girl. Don't rock a ship that ain't trying to sink. Just let that well alone. It's like, for example, if I was dating a person that prioritizes reading books, at least I know that she is platonically enjoying this textbook and not enjoying some other dude. So at the end of the day, whatever they fetish is, let them have that. Let them have that. Everybody got something. There you go. It's a hobby. We still love you, right? And here's the part that reminds you how important you are. Because even though his hobbies are more important than you, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna encourage you to like his fucking hobby. Now, if you can make peace with his hobby, you become number one again because now you are part of his hobby. But if you don't, if you like, nah, I need you to quit doing that and come over here and do, that's when you start wars. You make a man choose between his PlayStation and his woman. The PlayStation done been around since the early 90s, but his woman just got around a few years ago. I'm more than positive if you don't break his PlayStation is going to be there. But just like he can replace his PlayStation because you broke it, he can replace you because you broke his PlayStation. So think about that real quick. like, like you, we need space. Hold on, Michael. I disagree with that. Men don't need space. We want space. Big difference. Women need space. They don't want space. There's a difference. When they not getting what they want the way they want it, they need space because they start having temper tantrums. Men don't need space. We want space because we tired of your damn temper tantrum. It's a big difference. Because when a man is in love with a woman and she is not having a temper tantrum, he does not need to go nowhere. He needs to get away from you so he don't punch you in the face because you are pissing him off. So it is not really a need, it is a want. There's a huge difference there. Make sure y'all like and subscribe now. We're gonna be reckless tonight.
Is my relationship with my besties bro inappropriate? I have spent a couple of evenings with my best friend's brother. Not necessarily planned, but just ended up spending time together, getting drunk/stoned. For context, we are both 28F, he's 27. For me it is completely platonic and we're just talking shit and hanging out, but I can't tell if it's made my bestie uncomfortable. Although I have asked her and she said it was fine. Should I back off or is this okay? Is my relationship with my besties bro inappropriate? I have spent a couple of evenings with my
Oh my
best
God,
friend's
you got it
brother.
on loop.
Not necessarily
All right.
planned, but just ended up
We're gonna
spending
get
time
this
together, getting drunk/stoned. For context, she and I are both 28 and he's 27.
so for
For me it
clarity,
is completely platonic and we're just
she's
talking
spending
shit
too
and
much
hanging out,
quality
but I
time
can't tell if it's made my
with
bestie
this dude.
uncomfortable. Although I have asked her and she said it was fine. Should I back off or is this okay?
All right, that's not going to be on a second loop. Is I can understand that since men are the breadwinner and spend most of their time working. I get it. Um, oh yeah, for the thing back in the other topic. Yeah. Well, so for this young lady here, her she's hanging out with her best friend's brother, and they kind of got like a bromance going on, like they're hanging out like platonically or whatever. Now I'm gonna say this again, ladies. And this ain't bashing y'all, so don't go sitting over here trying to get offended. But check this out: no man makes friends with a female that he doesn't want to sleep with. So while you are not recognizing his willingness to make time for you platonically, and it's only platonically because you have it platonically, not because he has it platonically. So especially if y'all are doing like flirtations, banter back and forth in the sake of joking, because see, as adults, we forget our place. And y'all start having sexual innuendos going back and forward, making sly comments with one another. That's what she said and stuff like that. And you got to understand that that back and forth action, that flirtatious action, can lead to the throes of passion and lead to you dating your best friend's brother. Now, she's going to say that she's okay with it. She's not, but she's not objective to you being her sister in law because she does not have any problems with you as a person. But no person that I know of is okay with their friend spending more time with their sibling, because that makes no sense. You came over here for me. You didn't come over here for my sibling. So if you came over here for me, then let's go somewhere without my sibling. But if you came here for my sibling, then why are you calling yourself my friend? Now you got to understand that sometimes guys do this. Guys want to sleep with their sister's best friend, and they start putting the moves on the girl. And the only reason why it's fair game is because girls want to sleep with their brother's best friend. So they can't hypocritically say, no, you can't try to smash my best friend while she's trying to smash his best friend. But truth be told, the dynamic is that the family of your friend should be off limits. So you're not supposed to be sleeping with your friends' uh, uh, siblings or their dad. You're not supposed to be sleeping with your friends' siblings or their mom, however you want to look at that. No relationships with the relatives of your friend. That should be the dynamic that you guys keep. Because when those physical contact relationships go south between you and their family, they are put in between the awkward moment of you and their family. Got to think about that. So, is it okay for you to do? In a sense, we're all adults, we're all humans. Sure, it's not a problem. But can it catastrophically damage your relationship with your friend going forward? Yes, especially if you're sleeping with a bunch of their family members. Michael says, at my age, I'll take any friends that I can get. Friends keep dying off. Well, like vampires, the older you get, the more funerals you attend. So my recommendation to you, Mike, is to start making friends in the 20s and 30s. That way, they should be around for another 40 years. You said you got 8 to 10 years left, so you need to find people that are 12 to 20 years younger than you so that they'll outlive you. But I agree with you. The older you get, the more friends you need. What does Charlie Sheen say? You're only as old as the women you feel. So bring yourself back down to 28. It is what it is. See what the next one's got.
I am 42, found out my wife, who's currently 40, cheated on me multiple times before we got married. Wife and I met when we were 19 or 20 and dated for 7 years and married for 15 years. I found she was meeting a guy when I was doing 2 months long Army basic training. She was 22 and we had been dating for 3 years. She said they were just going for a coffee and I stupidly believed it. I always had my doubt, so I asked her about it many times, but she promised nothing happened. After 7 years of dating, we moved to Canada and got married. Marriage has been really good. She supported me really well. I had no complaints. We built a great life together and have 2 young boys. We had to live with my parents for 1 year, and she really took care of them. 1 year ago, I found some evidence that she might have actually cheated, so I pressed her. Turns out they already kissed before I caught them, and she met him after I forgave her meeting him. He convinced her, and they went to a hotel one night. She said she was extremely nervous, and she refused to continue having sex after a few minutes. Nobody would believe this. He got mad and yelled at her. That was the last time they met or contacted. Also, she confessed that she met 2 other guys. Few dates, kisses, no sex. She was 22 to 25 years old. All these happened before we moved to Canada and got married. She willingly took a polygraph test to prove she is not lying and passed. She didn't make any excuses. She just said she was just too naive, dumb, selfish, emotional. It has been 1 year since I found these out and I tried to forgive her because our kids are young and she treated me very well after we got married. I mean, she was treating me very well even when eating. She was a typical cake eater type of cheater. But it feels almost impossible. We both did some counseling, and that didn't help with my anger. My resentment keeps building up, and I feel like I don't love her anymore. I still care about her. 3 months ago, she moved all her inheritance to my bank account, $250K, and wrote a separation agreement. She will give up all our assets and even custody. She just wants to be around with me and our kids if we get a divorce. She begs me that I keep her as a housekeeper at least. She knows she can get half of everything, but she understands how badly she screwed up because I was always be there for her since she was 19 years old. She was emotionally very weak, undecisive, heavily rely on other people, usually me, and I was totally fine with me. But when I wasn't there for her, she easily built up feelings for the guys who helped her. She knows now they just wanted sex. She grew as a person a lot since our older son was born. She said if she lied about any details of her cheating, I can cut her off from my and kids' life and kick her out. And I can do as many as polygraph tests as I want with different questions. I can tell she is very remorseful, but not sure if I can love her like before. I don't know what to do. She is a serial cheater who screwed up her second chance after all. I know cheating was before marriage, and they weren't full-blown affairs, but I can't move on. 20 years of lies. Would you even try to reconcile?
What? Okay, let's go back to what Michael said. He said, "Dude, get over it before marriage. What's the problem?" Okay, so now this is a perfect situation where, ladies, y'all can see how uniform happens here. I'm sitting over here looking at the fact that whatever happened almost 20 years ago. You didn't know about it almost 20 years ago. Everything been good since then, almost 20 years ago. You done found some stuff, probably a text message or an email from somewhere that she dismissed. You wasn't planning on it, but you was digging and you found some shit that you didn't want to find. And when you found it, you asked her about it because you had knowledge that she didn't know that you had. So she just confessed because it happened so long ago that it shouldn't matter. He said, "What a shallow." Yeah, that's not even a man. That's a child mentality right there. And look, the woman said, take everything. She gave her inheritance, which got nothing to do with him. She gave her inheritance to him and then signed a separation paper talking about some he can have it all so that she can just stay in life as at least just the housekeeper. He he worse than a whiner, bro. This is ridiculous. I understand the betrayal. I understand the betrayal. But there's a lot of men that would be like, "Oh man, it was one time for 9 months or 4 years, and it was only like 10 years ago or whatever, and you shouldn't hold it against me," and blah 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 blah. You got some women that would have had the affair, had the child, where one of the two children is not yours, and she didn't tell you the truth about it. All of those things that happened, that could have happened, that didn't happen to this guy. He over here mad that because she was young, fresh out the box, and she was just exploring new things and made some bad choices. Now I'm gonna tell you straight up, between 18 and 25, between 15 and 25, while out decade. These girls is crashing out. They are out there. They throwing it against the wall. That any type of positive confirmation or validation from a dude can lead to hooking up. If you're her first, you're not gonna be her last because she gonna sample somebody else. I wonder what if it's the same with somebody else. There's always gonna be that what if, and temptation is gonna lead them to try it. If you're hooking up from a young age, if you start dating somebody from a young age and you don't catch that phase where it happens and you don't know nothing about it, then let it go. Let it go. Because while you was in your 20s, you can't tell me that you ain't slobbed down with some chick and then regretted it. You can't tell me that you ain't groped a girl or two, even though you was in a relationship with this girl since y'all was 19. You can't tell me that you didn't have that thought that maybe I could take this one chick into the bathroom and nobody will know about it kind of scenario, because all human beings have those thoughts. So to be petty about it, I could say you could be upset for a few days, a couple weeks, you know, but you're making it seem like she denied it for 20 years. I understand withholding the truth is a form of lying. However, if the situation happened while you were not in the picture, even if y'all were supposed to be in a committed relationship while you were not in the picture, the situation happened, it stopped, she learned from her mistakes, she did not allow it to continue. After that 3 year phase of being a hoe, she did not allow it to continue. And then after that, she made up for it by being the best wife she could be, even though she did not tell you why. Her guilty conscience motivated her to be such a good person. The fact is that she should have made up for the 3 years of error that she made over the past 15 years of marriage. Some guys would use that as an excuse to get they one free pass to go smash a chick, but she don't say nothing about it. But Either way, bro, let it happen. I tell you guys this on a regular basis that there is not one 20 plus year long marriage that I know about where there wasn't at least one outer relationship affair of some kind, whether it was an emotional affair or a physical affair. Feelings change, actions happen, temptation occurs, people weak in the moment and succumb to the situation. And then after that, they recognize that they shouldn't behave that way. And that's when they make changes. Cheaters cheat for all kinds of reasons. But once cheaters experience, some cheaters regret it and never do it again. Once cheaters experience the fallout of the cheat, some cheaters um, would prefer not to experience that fallout again. And that encourages them to not do it again. So just because it happened when she was 20, she's like almost 40 now. When you're talking about when she was in her 20s. First of all, she too old. She ain't nobody gonna try that with her again. You gotta stress that. You need to just go ahead and live your life with your child and just not worry about what happened back in the day. Michael said you didn't need to carry around with you someone else's problems. Exactly. Because you could have been carrying somebody else's baby, calling, talking about some you stepdaddy and shit. So I don't know. Like, I feel like you bitching over nothing. And then us men now, 35, 40, 50 years old, we not going to find a 22 to 25-year-old that have not been around the block two or three times, that have not sampled the all the rides in the fair a handful of times. You these days, most of the time, when you ask a female what her body count is, she's embarrassed by it because the body count is high. They not gonna tell you one because it's not one. It's gonna be like 10, 20, 50 by the time they 25. They smashing like one dude every month almost between like 16 and 30. Some of them more often than that. And that's just the culture that we have right now. So the fact that she's only had interactions with three guys while you were away, uh, 20 years ago, bro, let that shit go, bro. Let it go. If you screw up right now when you end up with a 25-year-old, then you could be like, hey, we're even. But don't deliberately put yourself in that position, though. Either Michael said I would have told him to shut up or seek therapy. He did seek therapy. That's the problem. They went to therapy and he's still not satisfied. It would get on my nerves. Soon as he said that, I was pissed off for her. I was like, what kind of shit is this dude? But again, this is us recognizing that borderline trying not to challenge this man's masculinity. But the fact is that this is not the socially accepted behavior that men are expected to behave in. Now, truth be told, yes, his feelings can be hurt, and everybody has a right to have hurt feelings behind recognizing infidelity, no matter when it happened. The moment that you find out about it, the devastation can linger. But carrying it to the magnitude that, oh, I can't trust you anymore. I can't sleep with you anymore. I can't do this and this and this and this anymore because of something that you did 20 years ago that I just found out about yesterday kind of situation. I think that's asking for too much, bro. I think that's asking for too much because they can't change the past and neither can you. So why are you going to condemn them now? If the marriage has been good for the last decade, why condemn them now? That makes no sense. Fuck people's feelings. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. F those feelings. Stone Cold Steve Austin middle fingers.
At 27 years old, was uninvited to my boyfriend's sister's wedding 2 weeks before it happened. I was told 2 weeks ago that I wasn't invited to my boyfriend's sister's wedding that is tomorrow. He is 23 and she is 24. I was originally invited, and I know this because while they were planning the wedding, she would speak to me about what she had been working on and planning. I was present for a conversation about the seating chart for the reception where I was told which table I was at and who I'd be sitting with since my boyfriend is in the wedding party and he will be at the head table. Originally, I was told I was uninvited because they weren't letting a family member bring their new girlfriend, so it wouldn't be fair to let me come. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 2 years. We live together, we talk about getting married, and are very much in a not new serious committed relationship. The groom's sister is bringing her boyfriend of less than a year as well. The next reason she gave was that I have not tried to form a relationship with her, so I shouldn't have expected to be invited. For the past year and a half, every time she talked about wedding stuff, I offered to help, and she turned me down every time. I have made plans with her and she has bailed every time. I've invited her to parties we have at our home. She has only shown up to one of them. I have never heard from her unless I have reached out first. We have never had any issues. When we are together at events, we get along great. I did stop trying to make plans after a year of being blown off, but I truly don't understand what else I could have done to have a relationship with her past when we talk at family events. Me and my boyfriend are in the middle of a move right now that I am largely doing alone, so he can attend wedding stuff this week. I know it's selfish to be upset because she has every right to choose who is at her wedding, but the way she went about uninviting me last minute with reasons that don't make sense isn't sitting well. I am not a random woman in her brother's life, and I have made sacrifices in order for her to have the best day possible, especially moving mostly alone, so her brother can spend the week with family. I don't want to try to build a relationship with her after this. I did reach out to her to apologize for making her feel like I didn't want to build a relationship with her and asked if she would want to go for coffee in a couple weeks to talk. She agreed to go, but I don't know if I actually want to have that conversation with her given how I was treated in this situation. I love my boyfriend with my whole heart, but I also can't see a path forward for us if I can't work this out with his sister. I'm not sure how to have this conversation, or if trying is worth it at this point.
Hold on. So you gonna break up with your boyfriend because his sister didn't want you to go to her wedding because she don't like your ass because of your attitude. I can see why she don't want you there with your petty ass. Look, let me tell. Look, we got two petty folk back to back now. We just got on a dude for being petty. Now we about to get on a female for being petty. So check this out real quick. Now, first of all, I have been to weddings that I was not invited to. I just show the fuck up. I don't give a damn about an invitation. You not checking damn tickets at the door. The door is open. Walk in. If there's an empty seat, sit down. That's how it works. Nobody's going to tell you, oh, you can't be here. It's reserved. It's reserved until people cancel, and people always cancel. And when they cancel, there's an open seat, and they don't want the money that they spent on food to go to waste. So, sure, you can sit your ass down. I have been like wedding crashers, like Maroon 5. I would just pop up at people's weddings. People I didn't even know. I would just go there because one of my homeboys was going there. So, I don't understand what the problem. I don't understand what the problem is as far as the seating chart and all of this other shit. He said, "Oh no, don't do it." Now, my thought is this: if she told you don't go to the wedding, stay your ass at home. Just don't fucking go. Now, you sitting over here bitching about the fact that y'all doing this big move. Why the fuck? Because you got to remember here, this is a problem of circumstance that you're creating for yourself. You have made plans to move during the wedding. Why are you not postponing the move until after the wedding? That way, while your boyfriend is with his sister for the wedding, you having spa days, golf course days, girls' nights out, whatever the case may be. You could show up at the bachelorette party and enjoy the night and then take your ass back home. And then after the wedding, make your man move all that shit. That was his family over here exhausting him. Now it's time for him to come and move the damn house. You yourself do not have to do shit. Because unless your landlord gave you a 3 day notice to vacate, there is no reason why you can't extend the lease for 2 to 3 weeks. You just pay your landlord in advance for the time that you're going to be there and then just get your shit and get out. Because you got to understand that the wedding date was selected 6 months to a year in advance. So why are you planning a move the week of the wedding? Ain't shit going on that you couldn't say, let's move before or after the wedding. not damn week of the wedding. Because it's not like you moving the house to the wedding reception. So what the hell? You can get away if no one knows you. I did. I went to a Greek wedding and I got away with it. And the reason why I got away with it, not because I had a great tan, but because I was driving an Audi TT and everybody wanted one. So because I had the luxury sports car that everybody at the event wished they had, I was VIP'd into the building. I parked my car on the sidewalk in front of the stairs by the front door. So everybody who pulled into the parking lot who had a reserved parking space sticker, they towed out the parking space, but for some reason they didn't tow off the parking off the sidewalk. So I just put the car on the sidewalk and I was in there. But the funny thing about the situation was I went there, I met the groom, got him hammered. I had to drive him to the photo shoot because he was drunk. Then I had to drive him to the wedding itself because he was drunk. Then I had to drive him to the reception because he was drunk. So I went from being a wedding crasher to being one of the people that made the wedding successful because had I not been there, he would not have been conscious to get married. So then when I was at the wedding reception, all the children were sitting at the table. So then when the children's mothers wanted to get up and go somewhere, for some reason, I guess I look like Mr. Rogers before the charges, and they're come up there to, can you watch my child? Sure, I don't give a fuck. I'm eating steak. All these kids over here treat me like a black Santa Claus, and so the whole group loved me. Then, oh my God, the next best thing, they had to get the guest that nobody knew to get up there and start doing boys to men because I'm black. So once I did that, everybody loved me. So between the car and my social atmosphere behavior, I mean, I was able to just slide right into an uninvited wedding, and uh, all of my homeboys from that point forward knew me as a wedding crasher. So every time somebody got married, they would just tip me off that a wedding was going to happen, and I'm going there, open bar, free food, and I was there. And I did the damn thing, but I earned my keep while I was there. So I don't understand what her problem was about not going to the wedding, but I just feel like if you was explicitly told don't go, find something else to do. Then you're saying that you for the last year to a year and a half, which means that this wedding has been being planned for 18 months. So why are you moving while the wedding is happening? I already said that, but for that last 18 months, now you're trying to be her friend because she's planning the wedding. Before the wedding, you wasn't trying to be her friend. So why the fuck should she be trying to be your friend now that she get married so that you could be in the wedding? Because weddings is for the women, it ain't for the men. All the women want to be in the wedding, want to be a bridesmaid, want to be the maid of honor. Shit, the men want to go down to the justice of the peace, sign his paper, go back to the house, and get a beer brought to him for the first time in his relationship. That's what the men are looking for. So this ain't for us. So you over here being petty because you wasn't chosen in dodgeball, and now you over here trying to be pissed off. But truth of the matter is, does it really matter? You don't need to have a relationship with his sister to maintain a relationship with him. You don't need to be petty and not invite her to your wedding if you married him just because she didn't invite you to her wedding when y'all got together, y'all together for 2 years. So here's the pettiness. If you are going to sabotage your relationship with your boyfriend because of how your relationship with his sister is, you have just shown the red flags that his sister has picked up on about your attitude, your pettiness, your negative behavior that has led her to not want your toxicity at her wedding, which is why you got uninvited after you was originally invited because nobody knows a nice way to tell you that I don't want your bullshit at my party. So instead, they're going to make excuses. Oh, everybody's partner is uninvited. That's not true. It's just you. That's like them saying, oh, we make everybody sit in the back of the bus, but me and everybody with my tan is sitting at the back of the bus. That's that bullshit. You just know, you know, you just got to understand. You're right, Michael. It is extremely toxic. He said earlier, he said, go to the wedding. We'll see you on YouTube or cops, one way or the other. What you gonna do when they come for you? But that's my point. So why you upset about it? I don't understand it. Ladies, y'all can make more sense about it than I can, but I can tell you right now that just listening to what's going on, that you don't deserve to be in that wedding, because that wedding ain't about you. You not even in the group of people standing up in the line. Your ass was supposed to be in the fucking audience. So whether or not you sit at the back row, stand in the doorway, up against a pillar somewhere in the church, if they inside, or you hiding behind a tree with some fucking binoculars like Inspector Gadget at a funeral, you could be there without being seen there, but you want to be there where you can be seen there, and you pissed off that she won't let you. Girl, make no sense. You know she's gonna go to make a scene. You know she's gonna go to make a scene, and that's why her ass ain't invited. You know she's gonna go out there and say or do something redonkulous. And see, this is gonna be the other problem, because when people give toast, they're given the microphone, they've been drinking, and now they're about to start saying some stuff that you would wish they would not say, make the whole room uncomfortable. And then after they done did that, that is when somebody gonna take the microphone from them and make them go sit down. She don't want that bullshit at her wedding. It's gonna happen at the wedding anyway. It's just not gonna be the girlfriend. Mama used to tell me, don't be the first person to make an ass out of yourself. Now, if it don't matter if you the second or third, just don't be the first one. They remember the first person to make an ass out of themselves, and they remember the person who fuck up so bad that the whole event is canceled. Those are the only two people that they pay attention to. So if you the second, third, or fifth ass in the group, don't nobody even remember that you existed. But the first person to go from being civilized to uncivilized, and the last person who went from being uncivilized to closing down the show, people going to jail and to the hospital and stuff, those two people, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, remember when so and so did X, Y, and Z? Remember when dude was humping a tree? Remember when the girl was topless on the bar and doing the thing with the fountain? And that's what I'm saying. That's what they're gonna talk about. So don't be the first person. You can be the last. The one right before the chaos happens that shuts the party down. He said, I'm going to the wedding. I'm going to going to the ark. Gonna narc on her. That's what you do. You hang out outside the doors, and right when the preacher say, is there anything that anybody's gotta say before they get married? Speak now, forever hold your peace. That's when you bust the door open and, I got something to say. The one person that was uninvited to the wedding. Or you can walk in there like Kill Bill and make it do what it do that way. I don't know. Let's go ahead and tap dance on to the next one, because these people complaining about nonsense tonight.
My neighbor wants me to pay for the fence he destroyed. Here are the details. I bought a house in July 2022. The current neighbors who shared the king privacy fence with me bought 5 to 6 chow chows in the summer of 2023. By spring, these dogs were huge. A storm caused tree branches to fall and start a few holes in the fence. I couldn't afford to fix it yet, so I plugged the holes with random wood and chicken wire. But his dogs kept coming into my yard, using the bathroom, barking at my dog, snarling at me. The only way to get them to leave was going outside to walk them back and yell at them to go back to their side. Early summer 2025, the dogs were angry and would kick and bite at the fence and bark and snarl until they made their way into my yard with not 1, but 3 giant holes in the wood 6-foot-tall privacy fence. They were over so much my dog couldn't go outside, and when approached they would snap at me, bite my sneakers, and be aggressive. I finally called animal control, who spoke to my neighbor and gave him 6 fines, 1 for each dog. This is the problem. The neighbor said, I will fix the fence, and bought about $900 worth of materials to fix it in 1 weekend, albeit impressive, but wants me and my family to pay for it plus labor. My brother tried to speak to him through a language barrier and was pressured into agreeing. So I fear I need to pay something at least, because he agreed without me being present. I own the home, not him. Since then, they have been doing weird things like demanding the money, watching my mom cut the grass from their truck beds, and letting the dogs out when she's outside. Do I pay him back? Do I pay for some materials? Or do I say it was a misunderstanding and I'm not paying for any of it?
Michael makes the biggest observation here. Whose tree was it? If the tree was on your side of the fence and the tree hit the fence after the storm, you're responsible for the fence. If the tree was on their side of the fence and the tree had broke the fence, they're responsible for the fence. It sounds to me like the tree was on your side of the fence. You did not have the money to fix the fence. So you just patched the fence. His dogs are violating your property because the fence is not secured because it's your responsibility to service the fence. You are getting him fined excessively because his dogs are in your yard because the fence is not fixed. Now, he gonna pay them fines, but he's gonna make you pay the fence. Now, you don't want to pay for the fence, but he's not gonna stop with his dogs because this is going to be tit for tat. This is going to be retaliation. And this is why I don't like neighbors. I prefer my house to be a quarter mile away from my neighbors, whereas we can't see one another with binoculars. We so far away from each other because I don't want to deal with that bullshit. So we both got dogs. Whose side? The guy with the dogs. So the guy who has the dogs encroaching on the yard of the person that's complaining right now. I believe that that guy paid to fix the fence so that his dogs would stop going into the other guy's yard. But I believe that the guy that's complaining about this right now owned the tree that broke the fence and he half-ass patched it with wood and chicken wire, and that wasn't good enough. Now, if that is true, the guy who's complaining does, but he didn't say whose tree it was. I know you keep asking. I know. I agree with you. He didn't say whose tree it was. He said the tree fell. A tree fell. And because the tree fell on the fence, that means that the tree was either on the side of the complainer or the side with the dogs. And it was hanging over the fence and the tree fell. So somebody had possession of the tree, and whoever owned the tree was responsible for the fence. But what I'm hearing, it sounds to me like the guy who's complaining owned the tree that broke the fence. He didn't have the money to repair the fence, so he patched it, and he didn't patch it well enough. And the other guy's dogs are trespassing on his property as a result. Now, while the dogs are trespassing on my property, there's two ways that you can do it. The nice way to do it is record the dogs on your property, bring the videos to animal control, let animal control find the man every time the dogs come out. That way, if the dogs are ever not in the yard of the guy who fixed the fence, they'll just pay for it all day, every day. It doesn't matter if he demands that fix the fence if he doesn't take civil action against you within the timeline, because I think you have at minimum 1 year statute of limitations from the date of the incident. Some states, depending on the statute of limitations, it could be 2 or 3 years since the date of the incident. But you got to check your local laws. If he doesn't take civil action against you for the damages done to the fence, where you reimburse him for the fence, the the fact is you could look. Michael got a good idea over here. Since most people have home insurance with a $500 deductible, you could go half on the fence. The guy who owns the tree is responsible to fix the fence, right? The guy is broke. The guy is extremely broke, and that's why he didn't fix the fence. So the other option, and this is the less humane one. The other option here is your complaint is dude's dogs is in your yard. Okay, well, when his dogs are in your yard acting violently, you can put a bullet in them for safety. Uh, they're going to complain about that, but if they didn't want their dogs to get got, they would have kept their dog in their yard. Everybody who lets their dog out off the leash lets their dog out with risks. Some cities and some states have laws that prevent you from doing that, and the cities and states that don't have those laws, or the cities and states that do have those laws and don't enforce those laws after hours when animal control is closed, those are the cities and states where you are responsible for your animal. So if your animal is in somebody else's property, your animal can get shot. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. Do better about your animal. But if you in the hood, it is what it is. Y'all work out a compromise. But uh yeah, Michael is right. If y'all got homeowners insurance, y'all could take out an insurance policy. Dude paid 900. So if you would have paid 500 for the deductible, if you gave the guy 450, y'all went half on the house, and that you could leave it at that. You know what I mean? That's actually pretty fair too. That's doing something, but he's only making you repay him for the fence because you cost him money for his dogs. But his dogs is only in your yard because you didn't fix the fence. So he said you touched my dog since you never fixed the fence. You and my dog is gonna be in the same position. You get my dog, I'm gonna be right next to Diddy. Me, Diddy, and R. Kelly gonna be doing a new remix. 30 plus 1 years. That's crazy. But you see how fact is mutual respect dictates that um y'all share something that once it went down that way and the fence broke and all this, that, and the other, you should have been able to go and talk to that person and say, hey, the fence is broke. I ain't got no money. You know, can we go half on it? I give you something out of my check whenever I can, but I ain't got it to get the whole thing done. You feel me? And even if it's your responsibility, if y'all have an agreement that y'all will go half on it instead of you paying all of it. He pay for it, and then you just give him a little bit of money because out of $950, that's what $100, $125 a paycheck twice a month, 250 a month for 3 months, 2 months, 2 to 3 months. That ain't that much money. Shit. But then if he was to sue your ass for the $900 for the fence and the 600 something dollars for the dogs, or the $900 for the dogs because the dogs would only be in your yard because the fence is broke, he could take civil action against you because that would be considered punitive damages to the broke fence that you refuse to fix. And then you would be paying him for his dogs being in your yard because technically that's your fault. That's a lot of stuff to think about. Is he renting? No, he's the owner. He is the owner of the land. He bought the house in 2022 or 23. He'd had that house for 3 years, and the last storm that happened broke the fence, and he left it like that. That's what he tried to patch the fence up with chicken wire and old wood and stuff because he's the homeowner. He's responsible for it. He complaining about it, but he's responsible for it. Let's see what the next one's got going on.
I accident made my girlfriend feel ugly. So I
Hold
made a
on a second.
mistake, and I assumed that all girls get hit on a little, especially if they are good looking, which I think my girlfriend is. We had a conversation, and she said to me she doesn't get hit on, and I basically said, I don't believe you, and you're probably ignore it or not noticing it. I basically said all attractive girls get hit on, even girls who are not conveniently attractive still get approached by guys. I thought it would just my girlfriend not noticing her surrounds, but I was wrong. She just didn't get hit on at all. Not even from random dudes on Instagram, and I have accidentally made her feel ugly. I said sorry to her and that my logic was flawed, etc., and not to take it serious, but she is now, and I feel really bad about it. I still sort of am in disbelief a bit because my girlfriend is really attractive. We went out to a club a few times and not once, and I got approached by a girl. which I think set her off, making her feel insecure. I'm not really too sure what to do here to correct my mistake. Any advice, please?
Well, first, Michael is right. Because the dude is a homeowner, his homeowner's insurance could have covered it, but because his ass is broke, he couldn't afford the deductible. So he being petty. Now back to this gentleman's response here. He's saying that his girl don't get hit on. And you know what's funny? And ladies, y'all not gonna believe this, but there is a such thing as too attractive. Now, call it male insecurity or whatever the case may be, but the logic is that the closer you are to a 10, the more often you should get hit on. And the reasonably subconscious man who understands that he said, I didn't think of that. Thanks. Oh yeah, that's right. Now, the reasonably subconscious man that is under the observation that you are attractive enough to get hit on all the time or reasonably considered all the time, they're less likely to approach you because they believe that they are more likely to be rejected by you because for some reason you still appear to be single even though you're that level of attraction. How you doing, mixed martial arts? It's good to see you again, brother. So if you're too attractive, you would be in a position where you're not getting hit on as much as the less attractive girls or the non-attractive girls because the non-attractive girls people feel like nobody hits on her, so that's an easy in. And then the moderately attractive girls are the ones that are averagely hit on, but statistically there are some women that don't get hit on because they're not in the right social atmosphere, because they're not carrying themselves the way that the climate that they're in, the society that they're in, would be drawn to women or something to that effect. But the dynamic here is that your logic, as well as mine, as well as most men's, is that if your girl is reasonably attractive, that darn good looking, that she should be, for some reason she's not, but she should be getting hit on a lot. Now, you made the comment based on your logical and rational assessment, not based on negative banter, not based on flirtatious or, dark humor. You did it based on your statistical observation. And based on that, she is an outlier. But when you start looking at the other statistics where the nines and seemingly tens don't get hit on nearly as much as the sixes and sevens, and the threes and fours and fives might get a little bit more play than the eights and the nines because the threes, fours, and fives are going to be more cooperative and more compassionate because, truth be told, don't nobody want them. Then you got the ones that are mid range that people can tolerate. They don't believe that they're overly approached, and those are going to be the ones that are going to be modest and less overly exposed because that's going to be another thing that's going to be a turn off for men that are not looking for a random hookup. Is that if you are a 9 or a 10, an 8, 9, 10 kind of thing, and you're overly sexualizing yourself, they're going to misobserve your persona as like an OnlyFans girl, adult freelance worker, or a girl that is designed for the streets. And unless they're looking for a random hookup, they're not going to approach you looking for a long-term relationship because they're going to assume under false pretenses that that's not what she's looking for. Then you also have the bro code that kicks into effect when there are no other negative side effects involved. Michael says, just old, I had to ask God to slide over. uh, the other thing that kicks into effect is the bro code, because when it comes to the bro code is that if I see her with him, I assume they are together, and I'm not going to approach her because I would not want somebody to approach my girl while I'm out with my girl. So that would be mutual respect. Now, If she's got a social media profile that's covered with her and her boyfriend in it, which there's very few opportunities for her to be in a photo by herself, guys are going to flip through that and keep going because she's in a relationship she's taken. If she's going places in public and she more often than not goes places with her guy, they're not going to approach her because she's with her man. You take her to a place where they ain't got no respect for you as a man, they'll come and try to take your girl from you. But if you don't go to those places, she's not going to get hit on because she's presenting herself as taken. And she's also probably overly attractive to the magnitude where some guys are going to automatically assume again that she is taken. Now, all of these positions, it doesn't mean that she's ugly, but she's going to feel like she's ugly because the women that are really overly sexualizing themselves are probably the ones that are less attractive. They're probably fours and fives that put on a lot of makeup and hair and scantily clad clothing, 6 foot heels, and all this other stuff, so that they can appear like a seven or an eight, so that they can get the attention that sevens and eights would get. Women that are naturally beautiful, that are eights, sevens, nines, they don't need to do all that. They just roll out of bed, take a shower so that they're not musty, and just be amazing, right? No makeup, hair not done, just go outside as is. You know, some of them go outside as is in they sleepwear and just flip flops and just make it do what it do and get unnecessary attention. But you got some, they're just not going to get it. So the question is, what do you do about this? Well, absolutely nothing, my guy, because you were going off of a statistical analysis. You were not taking shots at her. You were not trying to hurt her feelings. You were not trying to make sly comments to her to insult her and make her feel bad about herself. You made an observation that is not supported by her experiences, and her experiences are based on how she presents herself. And she probably presents herself in a fashion where people are not supposed to want to hit on her, and that's one of the reasons why she's not getting hit on. So you just got to accept the fact that good news is good news is she's less likely to cheat on you because nobody talking to her, you know. But recognizing this, since nobody's hitting on her, you need to proactively avoid interactions with other females that are not strictly platonic. Because since nobody is approaching her, or very few people, if any, you do not want the random times that an attractive girl is coming to you because your girl's self esteem is shot to hell already. And then some girl is going to come up and approach you, leaving her to understand that you have options and she doesn't. That's going to really mess up your relationship. Like I said, I'm short, have gone out with eights, never had a problem. I ain't never had no problem either. There have been times that I have said no, and the dynamic is it's it's going to be a lot different. So the guys that are in the modern guys these days, we're interested in different things than what we were interested back in the day, and that's one of the reasons why relationships are changing, dynamics are changing, which is why we talk about it 3 days a week. And while they're changing, men are withdrawing. And while men are withdrawing, even the most attractive women are getting less play in 2025 than what they would have gotten in 2015. And then you also have the age of the women. So even though she's attractive and she's in her 30s, she's not attractive. She could be a nine in her 30s and be treated like a four. That is the dynamic. It's not right, but that's the dynamic. That's what happens. So you gotta, you know, compliment her, show her respect. Don't give her false senses of security, but be genuine. Don't just tell her that she's cute. Don't just tell her that she's gorgeous. Literally identify what about her is attractive. The long natural eyelashes, the hazel colored eyes, the high cheekbones, the soft supple lips. Be specific. You know, don't just say that her hair looks nice. Be specific. The updo with the curl. Be specific. Pay attention to her, and then recognize that when she does change something, that you little change that she makes, whether she arches her eyebrows or gets a landing strip in unknown places. Make sure that as soon as you catch it, you comment on it in a positive fashion, because that's the only way that it's going to work. Like you said, don't tell a story if that's not true. Don't tell her she's the most beautiful woman in the world, because clearly she is not in a Miss America pageant. So you got to understand. But also recognize this though: those girls that are in OnlyFans videos, not every man wants them chicks. Some men that don't mind sleeping with a girl wouldn't mind sleeping with that girl. But when those guys are starting to talk about wives and long-term relationships, they're not trying to date no OnlyFans girl. So OnlyFans girls are crashed cars with overly priced tags on them. They're not, they're derby cars. It's like taking a NASCAR that's been on the track for 20 years and putting it on a used car lot. Ain't nobody gonna buy that shit. It's used. It's done, bro. It don't even have the safety features on it no more. Marsha says, I will cool it on the compliments. I think that's made her view you as less than her. Only compliment if you're genuine. That's one of the things I tell men on a regular basis. We should not, in our society as men, be complimenting women so often, because it devalues the compliment. We should only compliment a woman when a woman does something worth complimenting. The same way men don't get complimented, even when we put our lives on the line for the sake of these women, we don't get a compliment for shit. It could be we could be bleeding to death for them, and we won't even get a fucking thank you. And with that regard, we need to recognize, when's the last time a woman came up to you and said, "You look nice in that outfit. You look sharp, very handsome." Yeah, you get those compliments from your friends and family and the family of your friends. But when you out in the street talking to strangers, how many times does a woman you don't know come up and tell you how good you look, how good you smell, how awesome it is for them to be able to stare at you as you walk by? Shit don't happen. Recognizing that, mutual respect dictates that you shouldn't be doing that shit to them. It is catcalling, even if it is appropriately designed. Telling her that she looks sexy, telling her that she looks beautiful, and you don't even know her fucking name, is still a form of catcalling, because you are filtering the inappropriate thoughts that you had when you looked at her, that you desperately wanted to sleep with this girl so bad you had to talk to her. That's really what it was. Beauty is only skin deep. And when was the last time you got a flower? We've been trying to figure this out, fellas, because like I said before, men get flowers when they're born because it's given to their mothers and they're in the same room as mom. And men get flowers when they die. And a man might get a flower if he's in ICU. If he gets hurt that bad that he's in ICU, some people might bring flowers. But outside of those three scenarios, if you're never in a situation where you're in a body cast in emergency room or some shit for a couple of weeks, outside of those situations, ain't nobody bringing you shit. You get a cold beer and a high five. That's all we get, bro. And sometimes we don't even get the high five. Sometimes we got to get our own damn cold beer. But that's all we get as men. So, as a man, we need to make sure that we tell each other, only compliment for what is earned. She put on an overly sexualized outfit to get attention. That does not warrant a compliment. She did something in your presence that benefited you. That requires validation. If that's your woman and she is behaving respectfully towards your relationship, not submissive to your alpha male agenda, but showing respect to your relationship, that requires an compliment. The same way, if a man does right by his relationship, he's doing things right. That requires a compliment. When he's not fucking up, she's supposed to compliment him the same way. When she's not fucking up, he's supposed to compliment her. But you're not supposed to compliment a strange woman just because she's breathing. And as I walk it off, back to work. But that's the thing. So we put ourselves, and because of this, the more attractive a woman is, the more often a woman is told that she's attractive. Then women start to expect it. And the problem that comes from that is that they don't appreciate being told that they're attractive because they're told about it so often. And they demand that you tell them that they're attractive because they're so used to being told that they're attractive. So the one guy that does not tell her she's attractive, she's going to pressure that guy to tell her that she's attractive so that she can feel validated. The high can never be achieved anymore because too many people tell her how attractive she is. Now, most of the guys that are telling her that want to sleep with her, not genuinely because they appreciate how she looks. They're just imagining in their mind what it would be like to sleep with a person that looks like her, which is why men can enjoy pornography. So, with that mindset, she doesn't really. No woman should really want a million and one random generic compliments. You're cute. You're beautiful. You look good in that dress. Because that means you're looking at my body. You're not looking at my face. You look good in that outfit. That means you're checking out my body. You're not looking in my face. Y'all got to really think about this. You know, you look good in them jeans. That means you're checking out my ass or my crotch. You're not looking at my face. Think about what these comments are really saying. When you think about the underlining comment that's coming from the compliment, really, we're not supposed to be saying them in the first place. It is just a filtered version of catcalling that women accept. And as men, if we respect our women, we shouldn't do that. We should only tell them that they're doing a good job when they're doing a good job. We shouldn't tell them you're doing a good job of making me want to sleep with you. We should never tell them that. But that's what a lot of men do. If we change the dynamic, we can break certain negative behavior patterns. And then what comes from that is by changing those patterns. If women are not overly complimented on a regular basis, when you do compliment them genuinely, they will appreciate it because it doesn't happen all the time. If the world wasn't spoiling the woman just because she was breathing, when someone acts with chivalry, she will appreciate it. Chivalry worked back in the day when women were property, like equal rights was a big thing back in the day when minorities were property. Now that we're all equal, chivalry doesn't mean shit, and equality doesn't mean shit because I could have got that without you. Michael says, I was told that this girl came in for an interview and she had all the qualifications for the job, uh, told she was not hired because she was so beautiful that no work would get done. That's a form of sexual harassment. That's a form of sexual harassment. And if that was a statement that was made, that could have been brought to HR and that person could have gotten at least suspended from their job, if not fired for it. However, that is actually a thing because there are women that too much cleavage, wearing clothes too tight, emphasizing certain assets that are not supposed to be emphasized on a work field, and then that attire will be distracting to the male clientele and the male employees. And if the men act on that attire, then the man will end up getting in trouble with HR because that is the byproduct of the sexualization of oneself on the job, which should be considered a form of sexual harassment. Because if you're going to present yourself in a way to be excessively desirable on the job, you are deliberately taking my attention away from my workplace, and that's not what she's supposed to be doing. She is supposed to blend into her workplace, not be the center of attention in her workplace, especially not the center of attention for sexual desire. It happens all the time. Would you wear a dress to a construction job? Some women do. Some women, no, they don't wear a dress. They wear a mini skirt. They wear either the tight mini skirt or the frilly mini skirt that goes up with the wind so that you can see the panties when the wind blows. And they go to heels to the construction site, halter top, and you think that yellow vest, that's the half vest that just covers the chest, belly button exposed and everything like that, that if they put a hard hat on, that they're safe. All the exposed flesh between her neck and her knees that could get chopped up by nails, wood, dust, rocks falling, and she want to look cute on the job. I'm telling y'all, these females now, they ain't even trying. They ain't even trying. I want to look cute. Your mentality of always wanting to look cute, that word cute is a filtered word for being sexually desired. And you do not want to deliberately make yourself sexually desirable all the time if you want to be validated for your skill set and your mentality. Because all the women are they got one thing in common is that they can reproduce, or most of them can, and they have one thing in common that they can sleep with men. What sets you apart from the other women is what you're capable of, what you're willing to do, and how well you're willing to cooperate with the men that you choose. That's what sets you apart. And that is not your physical appearance. None of that list, those three things that I identified, have nothing to do with what you look like. An ugly girl can do that better than a bombshell. And the man would pick the woman that can do those three things: what you're willing to do, what you're capable of, and how well you're willing to cooperate with the man. Those are the things that men are looking for these days in 2025. The golden chalice. Look, if these women were wearing chastity belts and the key was at the house and they was out in public, they would have less conversations. Because you can't move that chastity belt to the side and make it do what it do. They'll be sitting over there wondering what happened. Now y'all think about that archaic way that people used to do it 200 years ago. I just want y'all to understand, if that was the case, look now, y'all would not be talking to as many men as y'all talking to, because the way y'all carry yourselves, y'all draw more negative attention than positive. It is what it is. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through here. One
Am
more
I
now. Let's
just a
do
pen
another one.
pal? I need advice. I matched with this guy on Hinge about a month ago. We are both 25. We have been talking consistently every single day to the point where now we are sending back and forth voice memos instead of just texting. The conversation is going
We
well. We've
almost done,
called a
man.
few times and it's pretty flirtatious for the most part. However, we haven't been on a date yet, and this is starting to feel like a pen pal situation. I recently got out of a long-term relationship before this, so keep in mind that I'm completely new to online dating. He has not given me any signs that he will be taking me on a date anytime soon, but has voiced how much he enjoys talking to me. I'm a bit curious as to why a date hasn't been initiated or at least put out there as a possibility. I know he is very busy with his job and maybe he is waiting for the right time, but I just feel like this is being dragged out and it's starting to get to me because I don't want to waste my time. Any thoughts on the situation? Should I ask him if there's any reason as to why he hasn't taken me on a date yet? I do believe that the initiation to go on a date should come from the man, so I don't really want to have to be the one to bring this up.
Oh, well, that's the reason why you ain't going nowhere, because your ass is fucked up. So let's go off of this. Now, modern 2025 society, the egalitarian society, women's equality, women have the same rights and responsibilities as men, including in the dating field. Women want men. Look, that's what I was just about to say. If you want some shit from him, you can go ask him if he got time to go somewhere with you. You can offer to pay. You can take the initiative. Women can lead the reins and invest in the man here in 2025 to show that man that he is worth, that she is worth his time and attention. Instead of her just looking cute and waiting on him to spend his money on his day off to impress her, she could take time out of her day and spend her money on him to impress him. Because at the end of the day, no matter how the dynamic works out, usually women date men that are capable of taking care of the woman. So ultimately, by the time this dating phase is over, this man is going to have you on his salary anyway. So, as a modern 2025 egalitarian, Miss Independent, self sufficient woman, she needs to take her behind over there to that man, take him somewhere, Take a because and then when women take a man out, they don't got to impress the man by taking a man to a 5-star restaurant. They can impress the man by taking him to a Hooters and buying a bunch of wings and a couple beers. You could take a man to a fast food restaurant and feed his ass because he hungry and he just got off from work. You could take the man home and cook for his ass. You ain't got to do no pile of stuff for no dude. Dudes are impressed at the fact that you actually trying. That's what a man is going to be impressed at, that you actually trying. Females got to be impressed. So, ma'am, if you want the relationship to progress, you need to get up off your ass and progress the damn relationship. Society has made it the man's responsibility to make the relationship progress, do everything the woman wants done, still be able to take charge when a woman don't feel like taking charge, but also submit to the woman so that the woman can be in charge when she wants to be in charge, but not be responsible for the fallout of any decisions that's made. All of this chaos is not going to work in modern 2025. If you want to be in charge, but be in charge all the damn time. If you don't want to be in charge, wait your damn turn. He gonna get you when he got time. But if you want this to progress into something where he prioritizes you, then you got to prioritize him. Take your ass over, go meet him on his job, bring him a snack, drop something off at his lunch hour. Show him that he is important to you. Because I'm going to tell you something right now, ladies. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would tell a man the exact same thing. Show her that she is important to you. Find out where she work. Ask her where she work at. What shift she working on. And if you not at work that day, go over there and surprise her with a lunch. Order something to go from Zaxby's or something, and bring some food to her house. Find out what kind of food she like to eat. You don't even gotta go to where she at, bro. You got Uber Eats, Postmates, Instacart. You can order something and have it delivered to her location. Food delivery, and just drop it off in her name, already paid for. You can go the extra mile if you really want to impress her. You can spend $50 and buy food for the shift and put her name on it. And then everybody on the job is getting food from her man. That's how you impress, because now she gaining popularity with her squad because she was at work and now everybody got something to eat. And you can do cheap shit. You can do 50 something hamburgers. You can do 30 something tacos. You can do 150 Chick-fil-A orders and just send it over to her job and just, you know, you got a place that's a bunch of women. Go to Smoothie King. Go order a bunch of fucking smoothies and send over there. And you don't got to know what they want. Get one of everything and send it over there, bro. That's women wanted the same rights as men. Go ahead and swing first. That's what I'm trying to tell you, girl. You gotta get out there and swing first. No, you don't do so. It's not cash on delivery no more, Michael. Actually, it is auto pay on the app. So when you pick the stuff up, like Walmart.com, Amazon, anything like that, if you order something, you pay for it with the card, you tip on the credit card, and then the stuff gets made and brought to whatever address you want it to be brought to, even if it's not the address that you're located at. It'll drop it off. They'll send you a picture, let you know that they brought it there. That's it. And that's another reason why, when I was telling y'all a few weeks ago that if you had your partner's GPS location, that you could do some shit like that. You're not using the GPS location to stalk them, but if you wanted to do something romantic, like surprise them with uh like a meal or something like that, they've been at work all day, they've been in the same spot for 8 hours, they gotta be hungry. Order some food and send it to the location. Somebody knocking on the door, order for Sarah or whoever, and they, oh, I didn't order anything. This got your name on it. It's already paid for, ma'am. Go ahead and take it. Thank you. You can even put a note on it because like back in the day, Michael, you're gonna remember this. Back in the day, they used to have the telegram guys that they would go to the address and sing a song. You used to have the quartet people, all that. The flower bouquet person that would come to the house and they got notes and stuff. But nowadays, you could just order some takeout and then put a message on the receipt. Tell them that so and so. Tell them John sent it. That's it. So when you walk up to Sarah and say, order for Sarah, I didn't order anything. John said hello. Oh, I know who bought this. That's it. John said, have a good lunch. Oh, that's it. And that's a wrap. So if you really want to take the initiative, you send him some lunch. He gonna call you when he get a break. I appreciate you doing X, Y, and Z for me. Do you got time this afternoon? Do you got time tomorrow? Because don't nobody do nothing for a man. First time a woman step up and do some simple shit for a man. Simple shit for a man. Girl, you know some of the simplest stuff you can do for a man besides feed him? Put some gas in his car, pay for his oil change. I'm gonna tell you some simple shit you can do for a man. And he gonna be sitting over here head over heels for this woman because at the end of the day, don't nobody do nothing for a man. We're gonna talk about this tomorrow because tomorrow we're gonna be talking about how the green card is modified in 2025, and how even though they got a lot more laws that's gonna make it a lot longer for you to get that green card, for you to get that citizenship when you're trying to do a marriage green card, still ain't got no damn laws that protect the dudes. There's nothing out here for men. The men are supposed to fight until they die and defend what matters to them. Everybody who's too weak to fight for themselves, there's a law for y'all. But everybody else who's supposed to be strong enough to fight for what they want, ain't no law for you. The only thing you got to do is navigate the laws and not fuck up the wrong person at the wrong time where a law negatively impacts your future. That's it. But you're supposed to fight for everything that you want because you're strong enough to fight for yourself. But the people who are not strong enough to fight for themselves, there's a law for that. And every time they make a law because somebody is being deprived too often in a certain scenario, and they make a law to put a stop to that. They make laws to put a stop to the weak. So like Michael says, send flowers. You don't got to send flowers. You don't got to send flowers. Send me something that I can use. Send me something that I can benefit from. Because at the end of the day, men are practical. We're logical. We're reasonable. You don't want to buy me another tie because I got 80 fucking ties. But if you understand that my phone been cracked for a while, you might want to upgrade my phone. If my screen case got fucked up, you might want to get me a case or something like that. You might be riding in your man's car and the passenger side door handle broke. You might want to buy that handle so that it can be put on his car for him. Just simple shit. Stuff that he wish he had enough money to do, but he don't prioritize that because he prioritizing you. That's the simplest shit. Take care of your man. When women think about taking care of their man, they think about, oh, I gotta cook and clean and wash his ass and wash his clothes and all of that. No, no. The little shit in life that he don't got the time or money to do because he's spending all of his time and money on you, that's the shit that you do for him. And he will love that more than you being his damn servant. Cause don't no man want no damn servant. They don't want another woman to be his mother. They want a partner that can help him get through the shit that he can't get through on his own. And the only reason why he can't get through on his own because there's too many things that need to be done and not enough time to do it. And he still got to work a full-time job. So if you can do shit while he's at work, so that when he get off from work, they ain't got that much shit to do. Then the less shit he got to do, the more time he can spend with you. But if you're not trying to help him be a better him, and you're not trying to put in effort to take stress off of his plate, he ain't got no free time for you. Now you sit over here, yeah, we a pen pal or not? Well, are you motivated to make this relationship work? Because if you're not, then you're a fucking pen pal. He texts you when he got time. Now, when you start taking stress off of his plate, he'll make time for you. Michael said, if you want to show appreciation, show it when? Now, not 3 weeks later. The impact comes across as negative, especially when they especially when they delay the situation and then they want to do some stupid shit and then be petty. Oh yeah, I used to have a girl that used to wash me every day. I used to love that shit. I used to love that shit. But after her, it wasn't a regular thing. It wasn't like, oh, you must wash me. She offered. I would go into the shower. She would offer. Every shower ended up with a happy ending. But the fact is that she would offer. There's things that women can do to please their men. They just don't feel like it. They have been conditioned by Western society to not value the men that they want to keep. It ain't about the fact that you depend on him. You want to keep him, but you don't want to show him how important he is to you. Y'all gonna have to try. Y'all gonna have to change what y'all do. Because you can't say that you, as a woman, want to keep this man, but it is his responsibility to be kept by you. It's his obligation to put in the effort to be kept by you. Does that make any fucking sense? Flip the script, put the shoe on the other foot, ladies. If y'all are in a relationship, would you believe that it is your responsibility to be kept by the man? That you got to put in the effort to be kept by the man? Because, I mean, if you feel like he got to put in work to earn his position in a relationship, don't you think that unilaterally, not unilaterally, uniformly speaking, that you got to put in work to earn your position in a relationship too? Wouldn't that be balanced? He can't be working for his position and working for your position, because then you're not contributing. And if you're not contributing, that makes you the leech or parasite in the relationship. It's not about you stealing his money or using him for what he's got. It's the fact that the physical, emotional, and financial investment that's coming from one side of the relationship is being used up by the other side of the relationship and not reciprocated. And when the relationship dries up because the lack of contribution from both sides causes one side to burn out and the other side not contribute, when there is nothing left being contributed, that's when a relationship falls apart. But if both sides are contributing, there isn't a scenario where there will be a burnout. That's why when you have teams, y'all take turns. That way there isn't a burnout. That's why when you got a 24-hour day, you got swing shifts on jobs that are longer than one shift. Because if you switch out people, nobody gets burnt out. The people who work 2 shifts a day only do that 2 or 3 days a week because they don't want to initiate burnout. Michael says, "Yeah, but that was your mother." All right, let's go ahead and swing one more. We got one more, I think. One or two more, I think.
I got a girlfriend and it's surreal. I asked if she'd be my girlfriend. She said, of course. It was spectacular. To answer some of the questions I came to this sub for. I asked after 7 dates, 1 month, and lots of texting, but we're gonna celebrate our milestones based off of our first date because that's honestly when we knew. Still not very physical, just leaning against each other, hands, hugs. We both kinda suppressed our feelings for each other because we both felt as though we'd be taking things too fast or didn't want to scare the other off. But what do you know? The feeling was mutual. Geez, it's exciting. There's no right way to do things, just listen to your gut.
Yeah. Special shout out to that guy. I mean, when you find the right person that's willing to put up with your bullshit, lock that in. If you ever in a situation where you're sure about how you feeling, because the first time you feel it, you gotta analyze it. You can't tell if it's lust or if it's really strong feelings closer to love, strong admiration. Analyze those feelings, and when you're analyzing those feelings, what you have to do is you have to withhold disclosure for a little bit until you're positive that this feeling is consistent. Yeah, you're right, puppy love. And with this feeling being consistent, that's when you want to go ahead and tiptoe towards the ideology of reminding or notifying them that in spite of the timeline, you are consistent about your feelings and you want to let them know what those feelings are. But like day one, feeling confessions, women are going to pass that off as love bombing. Day three, feeling confessions, they're going to pass that off as love bombing. But like a couple weeks of y'all talking to one another for you to say, hey, I really like you and would like for this to progress into something preferably long term. You ain't got to tell them the love word, but I mean, you could tell them, I really like you. I think about you all the time, and I would like to work towards this being a permanent situation. And if she agrees, let's see where it goes. No pressure, but we both understand that we want something long term and we're going to take as much time as we need to get it to the long term. That's it. When the puppy love fades, if we're communicating throughout the relationship about pet peeves and likes and dislikes and stuff, we can navigate the minefield of things that would cause the relationship to fall apart within the first 90 days. Once we've passed over the honeymoon phase, we would be able to pass by the things that would lead to pet peeves that would lead to chaos. And if we're standing on non-negotiable expectations for behavior throughout the beginning of the relationship, we don't feel disrespected halfway through, and then we don't have that breakup that happens a year and a half into the relationship. Like I said, your actions will show. Well, your actions are supposed to show. Give it time. Your actions are supposed to show. And some of the things that lets you know that the other person feels the same way about you is when they change their schedule to be available for you. When they delay leaving your presence, when they make excuses to come see you sooner. Some people call that clingy, but that is the visual actions that represents their desire to be with you. In addition to that, them prioritizing your safety by making sure you don't get hurt, fall, slip, hit your head on the table, walk into a door. The When things happen to you, they're overly concerned about it. You give you a band-aid, taking care of you when you're sick, stuff to that effect. They pay attention to things like, have you eaten? Are you cold? Do you need a clean outfit? Do you want to whatever? They start really being nurturing because without saying that they really care about you, they show you that they really care about you by taking good care of you. Typically from men, yep, exactly. That is love. But typically from men, that happens in the first 48 hours. But for women, it might happen within the first 2 weeks. But when it does start happening, they come out of nowhere and cook for you for the sake of, to make sure that you ain't hungry, bringing you stuff to your job so that you can eat. You know what I mean? Doing your laundry for you because you ain't did your laundry yet. You know what I mean? Taking your dogs out for a walk because your dogs ain't been outside today. When they start taking care of some of your priorities, you know what I mean? That's when they really start showing you that you're important to them. Now, you take that with a grain of salt, but if you take that information and you say, okay, they're really doing a lot for me. Again, didn't I tell you, fellas? Judge about how much you can benefit from the relationship because she's showing you she is by how much she's willing to contribute to you. Now you're going to reciprocate with that, and then you're going to start taking over all of her responsibilities, which gives her the ability to focus on your responsibilities. And now y'all are working towards a united front. He said, and do that for her too. Exactly, the reciprocation. Because if you're doing for her the same way she's doing for you, y'all know y'all love each other. Y'all don't got to say it. Y'all show it. But when y'all do finalize it, y'all finalize it based off of the full understanding. I like the way I'm being treated by you. You like the way I'm treating you. And we both have the desire to make this a permanent thing. When she folds my underwear, I fold hers. You sniff hers and then fold it. There it is. Had to get the headset back. He said, I'm not sniffing nothing. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, we got one more. We got one more. Let's see what this one is.
I am 443, and she is 32. Why can't I stop thinking about her?
He's
I don't
42
usually
for her.
post stuff like this, but I'm kind of stuck in my own head. I've been seeing a woman who's. It's been on and off. I've had a few relationships before, I've traveled, I've lived a lot for my age. But nothing has hit me like this. When we're together, it feels grounding, like she sees through all my walls and bullshit that most people just don't care about. She's also the first person that's ever made me feel like somebody shook the rug from underneath me. I pull back. I go silent. I tell myself I'm too young, that I should be figuring life out instead of getting serious. But every time I step away, I feel the thread between us pulling me right back. It's like no matter what I do, I can't convince myself to let go. Part of me think, maybe I'm not ready. Another part says, what if this is the real thing, and I'll regret not leaning in? I guess my question is, can you actually meet the person at 23, even with a big age gap?
Yes. Um, Statistics have shown that the majority of women, more than 60% of women, are willing to date a man that is more than 40 years older than her. There are some that are 18 years of age that are willing to date a man more than 60 years older than her. The average woman between 20 and 25 is willing to date a man that is 25 years older than her. The statistical analysis is 50% plus seven. 50% of your age plus 7. So if you're 40, half of that would be 20 plus 7 would be 27. So if you were so if you were like 38, that would be closer to like 26 would be the right age for you. 26 or 25. But if you are 43, 44, and she is 23, yeah, that is possible. Women that are 30 and 40 and 50 are going to shame you for it. If you have children that are 25 or 26, the girls are going to shame you for it. The girl's mom is going to shame you for it because the girl that you're dating is old enough to be your daughter and your daughter's older than your girlfriend, kind of thing. So if you're 70 and she's 25, that's fine for the girl. Nobody tells the girl anything about it. They're not going to shame her for dating an older man, but they will shame the older man for dating the younger girl in the exact same relationship. And I have not understood why the social stigma exists where it is not okay for the man to be in the relationship as the older man, but it is okay for the woman to be in the relationship as the younger person. If it is wrong for the age gap, women should mistreat women for dating older men the way they mistreat men for dating younger women. But if they're going to high five the girls and girl power for finding a rich man that'll take care of you for 5 years until he dies, then you should high five that 70, 80-year-old man who found a woman that will stay with him for the last 5 years until he dies. Because at the end of the day, nothing changes about that dynamic. If there's a 23-year age gap, if it's bad for him to do it, it should be bad for her to do it. You can't say that it's not okay to rob the bank unless I'm a billionaire. Then I can rob the bank all I want. No, if it's wrong to rob the bank, then it's wrong to rob the bank. If it's wrong to be the older person in a relationship with a younger person, then it's wrong for the younger person to be in a relationship with the older person. It is illegal for people over the age of 18 to date anybody under the age of 18, but there is no law that penalizes people under the age of 18 for dating people over the age of 18. There is a Hippocratic scenario. So only one person will be negatively compromised if two people hook up and one's 16 and one's 18. 2 year age gap. Not that big of a deal, right? It is that big of a deal. She could be 17. He could be 18. She could be 17 and a half. He could be 18. They could have a 3 month age gap between the two of them. But because he is 18 in 3 days and she is 17 and 9 months, he can still go to jail the same way a 40-year-old man and a 15-year-old child would go to jail. So the social stigma is not normal. Michael said 20 years difference. Got money and Viagra. Good to go. If I'm taking my money with me, write a check, throw it in the grave. Now you're gonna have to put my blockchain in there. You got to have my blockchain going across my coffin. Ain't playing. But yeah, the way things are is that truth. You can, as a middle-aged man or an older man, find an appropriately aged woman that is a gigantic age gap, 15 years, 20 years. Because again, when we say 50% plus 7, when I said 40 is good with 27, that is 13 years. And if you were 50, 50% plus 7 would be 25 plus 7, which would be 32. And that is what, 14, 15 years. It's pretty significant age gaps. Not quite old enough to be your child, but still a significant age gap. 18 is better. Well, 18 is better, but women are not going to like that because men are going to say, well, she's less experienced. And women are going to say, well, that's because you're going to groom her and you're going to manipulate her into doing what you want. Well, no, she's a clean slate. She has little to no trauma outside of childhood trauma. She doesn't have any damage from past relationships because she's new to the dating field. She should not have any children unless she has one or two kids from when she was 15 or 16 with situations that should not have happened at that age range. Beyond that, typically at 18, there's no psychological baggage that we got to deal with, which makes it easier for her to compromise and cooperate with her partner. It is not because we can mold and manipulate her. It is because she is not a toxic wreck from social dating, which would be the fault of the men that she has encountered. So, not saying that it's the woman's fault. We're saying that because society will destroy her mental state, the more often she dates, the younger she is, the less damage she has experienced in her society, and the more likely she can have a healthy, happy relationship with a positive person that benefits her. So, yeah, 18 would be a better idea. But technically speaking, you're probably going to go for one that's above the age of 22. That way you can take her to the bar and get her an alcoholic beverage and not have to worry about it. But still, 22, she's only been out there 4 years. So she should only have like two bad relationships in that time frame. Four bad relationships if you include teenage dating. Two bad relationships, they were both long-term relationships, about 3 years apiece. So over the course of 6 years, between 16 and 22, she would have had two 3-year relationships. There you go. I appreciate you hanging out with me, buddy. We wrapping stuff up anyway. I'm gonna see you tomorrow night. Now, ladies, I'm gonna tell y'all as we walk out of here tonight. I want y'all, ladies, to as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I want y'all ladies to make it make sense. So I'm gonna keep asking you, ladies, to please make it make sense. And fellas, as Michael's been here giving y'all sage advice, we're here about 68% male driven podcast from the male's perspective. The ladies are starting to increase in followership on the channel. So I'm very impressed by that. And the information that I give you guys is here to help you guys become higher value men. And you guys can utilize this to improve your personal life as well as your financial life. And likewise, this is not gender exclusive information. So, ladies, y'all can take this information and make yourselves higher value women as well. Once you fix the problems in your life that you don't like, you make yourself more valuable for a person of more value so that you can be satisfied with the relationship that you have. When you fix the problems that you don't like that are inside of your control, you are no longer disliking the life that you live. Make the changes that impact you in your society so that you no longer dislike your society. Make the changes that you dislike in yourself so that you no longer dislike yourself. First person accountability, take responsibility for the shit that you control. Beyond the things that you cannot control, you navigate around the things that you can. That's all that you can do in life. Focus on fixing things in your personal life so that you got more strength and less stress so that you can focus more on making more money in your financial life. Improve your financial success so that you have more capabilities to take care of your standard of living so that you are no longer stressed out in your personal life. If you fix your financial life and fix your personal life, you bring that together, you should have a peaceful life. Make sure that you like, subscribe 7 nights a week. We're going to be here, not letting the sun rise without going live. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. That's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.